The Coast Starlight is one of a few long-distance trains that has persisted in close to its initial form since the creation of Amtrak in 1971. The daily service between Los Angeles, California, and Seattle, Washington provides passengers an array of Pacific Coast scenery, as well as a number of connection opportunities to eastbound long-distance trains, inter-city bus routes, or to dwell within the numerous cities served by the bi-level coach and sleeper train. Though it exists today as a more or less straightforward route, the history of modern passenger rail service on the American West Coast was previously more territorial. The Southern Pacific Railroad operated a train called West Coast between Los Angeles and Portland, Oregon, though it ran via the San Joaquin Valley east of the Pacific coastline. The Daylight Limited was another Southern Pacific train that operated along the route of today's Coast Starlight, though only as far as San Francisco. The Great Northern, Burlington Northern, and Union Pacific were among the main operators in the Pacific Northwest, whose trains passengers would then utilize for points north of California once arriving in San Francisco, Oakland, or Portland. Amtrak's Coast Starlight service was established in its present form beginning with the consolidation of the train's name, which initially switched between Starlight and Daylight depending on the train's operating hour. The train was among the many in Amtrak's system that weathered freight congestion through the late 20th century, as consumer demand for imported goods set longer and more numerous freight trains onto tracks that carried the Starlight. The Amtrak California brand was established around this time as well, with business class seating and the unique Pacific Parlor car for sleeper car passengers retaining ridership levels as Union Pacific adjusted operations to restore above average on-time performance to a route that remains highly popular to this day. My wife and I have twice taken trips aboard the Coast Starlight. First in the early months of 2020 going from Portland to Seattle, and again in January 2024 between Emeryville and San Luis Obispo, California. The latter trip is what we'll be highlighting today. Emeryville lies between Sacramento and Oakland. It's the endpoint for Amtrak's California Zephyr service to Salt Lake, Denver, and Chicago, and an intermediate stop for Capital Corridor and San Joaquin's trains. It's a decently spacious station with the comfort of a bus terminal and adequate food services, though no lounge for sleeper car passengers. We utilized Amtrak's throughway coach bus service to deliver us from downtown San Francisco to Emeryville, where we waited about an hour for our on-time departure of Train 11, the southbound Coast Starlight, bound for Los Angeles on a rainy California winter Monday. Siemens ALC 42 locomotives 326 and 319 will be pulling our train south today, having originated in Portland the day prior, the service north of Oregon having been disrupted by emergency track work. We chose sleeper accommodations today so as to be able to experience full-service dining as part of our tickets for the first time since 2020 saw the scaling back of onboard food operations. A companion fare coupon offered by my Amtrak Guest Rewards MasterCard made today's fare just over $400 for Megan and I. Our room-at accommodations are cozy and freshly refurbished, with new upholstery in our Bombardier-built Superliner 2 sleeper car. Our sleeper car attendant Brian expeditiously invited us to the dining car for a full-service breakfast, which is included along with lunch in our paid fare, excluding gratuity. My French toast was well plated and tasted just right, and Megan's omelet received no complaints. After departing Emeryville, the train makes a longer than scheduled stop at Amtrak's Oakland maintenance facility. A cutoff of power to our car is sign of a locomotive swap, with a Genesis P42 for the leading unit, though we won't know about the change of power until just before the end of our trip. The maintenance facility has a variety of California and national bi-level passenger cars and plenty of spare locomotives to look at.
Traveling to Emeryville, Berkeley, Richmond, Martinez, Sister Fairfield, Meganstevetravel.
Departing Oakland for San Jose, we're now running about 40 minutes behind schedule as we trace through Bay Area residential and industrial zones. With the BART line we rode in from Oakland's airport the prior day also in view. Passing San Jose's sports arena, we dwell at San Jose Station awaiting track clearance ahead. Once on the move, we pass over Interstate 280 and the landscape begins to trend toward ex-urban, with hillsides growing larger in the distance.
Just the bacon skillets? Yeah. And then to drink?
Do you have this thing on?
I do.
Did I get that, please?
Through lunchtime, we get a view of an industrial pit mine as we enjoy another decent meal in the dining car. The burger is the best option for me, and Megan's baked potato is loaded with flavor. The Starlight's dining car staff handled both meals very well. I'm glad to be able to have freshly prepared food again aboard Amtrak. Though I'm not really picky, the expense of the sleeper car is much more justified with full-service dining versus the flexible dining found on other routes, with the reheated options in flex meals being a mixed bag in terms of quality. Onward towards Salinas, Central California's rural landscape shows off a variety of agricultural and geographic styles. We run mostly parallel to the route of US Highway 101 for this trip. For variety's sake, we split our time between our private roomette and the sightseer lounge car, the latter observation car being open to all passengers, though somewhat sparsely populated on our trip. After a fresh air break in Salinas, we have a couple hours to take in the expansive landscapes and contemplate our upcoming days to spend in San Luis Obispo. This trip saw no pauses for freight interruption, unlike the transcontinental routes spanning America that are a burden for rail passengers and Amtrak staff alike. This seems to be a good example of how freight traffic can be managed to incorporate passenger rail, though California has a somewhat more robust set of rail corridor options for both people and commodities. Future high-speed rail projects seem like a positive change, but I prefer the slow train life when I can. Passing the proposed future stop in King City, Paso Robles will be the penultimate station on today's journey. Though the sights we've seen thus far are fairly pedestrian examples of North American scenery by rail, the forthcoming climb into and descent of the Questa Hills, the steepest part of the Coast Starlight's travel, surrounding San Luis, are easily atop the list of places to experience by train. I thought the Pennsylvanian train had a great horseshoe curve, but the spectacles to come, laced with beaming sunshine, are truly gorgeous sights to behold. Enjoy it for yourself.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Wow, how can the city of San Luis follow that geographic act? Subscribe to see what Slowtown has to offer in the weeks to come, and watch for a future long-form video featuring more scenery from the Coast Starlight trip. See you next time. Thanks for watching.